What's going on, Soul? Let me get this mic a little closer. What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you. Wow, I had this all planned out. Welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling extraordinary today. Hope you're feeling ready to tackle this week because we got a lot of opportunities this week. The really exciting stuff that's going to be happening here. I got this hourglass in the way, but before we jump into that, I'm going to be covering the week of the 1st through the 7th. And if you're wanting to know how these energies are going to be working more personally in your chart, we have a lot of planets that are getting ready to be moving between signs here. We have this new moon that's going to be happening. So if you wanted to see how this is working more personally in your chart, want to see if I'll tell you what, on this new moon that's coming up is hitting exactly on my ascendant. So I got my eye on that one. Got some big plans that I'm getting in the works. It's starting to formulate. So, but just a way you can work with the energy. So if you wanted to see any sort of like key dates and how that's work for you, down in the description box below, I have a link that you can book a free consultation call with me. We can just kind of figure out what's going on for you, and we can decide whether we just want to do just like a one-off sort of session, or maybe we want to do something long-term. I got all sorts of stuff available for you. So again, if that's interested, or if you have any other questions, you can also send me a direct message on LinkedIn or on Instagram. So that's something to keep in mind. But I think that's all the housekeeping I got for you. So let's go ahead and get into this thing, talk about this energy. Because like I was saying, I'm going to be covering the week of October, August 1st through the 7th. Happy August. Happy Leo season. And for those of you who've had a birthday past, I got a birthday coming. Actually, it's on Jupiter Day. It's my stepdad's birthday, so that's really exciting. But if you have a birthday coming up, happy solar return. And this could be a great time to book a reading with me too. We can go over your solar return, see what's coming up for you for the year. Look at all this, like the stars are lining up or something. But on Jupiter Day, the 1st of August, at about 8:18 p.m., Mars is going to be forming a sextile with the North Node, and this is going to be happening at 8 degrees and 23 minutes. Mars is going to be in Gemini, and the North Node is in Aries. Now, when you have the sextile energy, this is always a really cool one. This is a softer aspect. It can be one that can create opportunities. It can be just like a really good feeling too. So I feel like on just like a basic level, when we're thinking about Mars and the North Node, thinking about where you're going in life, are you feeling good in that? And this could just be a great time to just kind of really sit in that feeling, just in that comfort of like, yeah, okay, like I'm confident about this. This has been worth the investment. I'm starting to see the results, like things are really starting to come together, and just really kind of enjoy that. But if you're wanting to improve on some things, this could be a time where you maybe get some sort of like motivation. Maybe there's some sort of like, when we're thinking Mars, this is very instinctual. And Mars and Gemini, something just kind of flashes. Maybe you happen to be listening to the radio. Maybe you're listening to a YouTube video. Maybe you happen to be reading a magazine and just something pops out at you and you're just like, I never thought about that. Let me look into this a little bit further. Or if you have something like that coming up over these, as these energies kind of build up over these days, because usually the energies, you want to try to catch them as they're building up to this exact day. So throughout this day, pay attention to any sort of like, if someone says something that kind of sparks some ideas that, or maybe gives you something that like, oh, you know what, I never thought about that. If I took this way, or maybe research this, or maybe talk to this person, it could steer this thing this way, something fantastic could happen for you. So, and just to give you kind of an example of this, for me, this is the North Node in the South. Oh, and keep in mind too, when you got the aspects that are happening with the North Node, there's always something that's going to be happening with the South Node too, since it's opposite. And so when you have this sextile with the North Node, there's a trine that's forming with the South Node that's in Libra right now. And when you think about trine energy, that's when the planets are 100 degrees apart. So you think like elements there: air, fire, water, the triplicities. And when you think about that trine with the North Node, this could be where you're seeing something like maybe like I could see this as like maybe something that someone said to you kind of just happens to come up to you. You haven't thought about it for maybe months, maybe years. And it's just like, oh, maybe this is what they meant. Like someone gave you a little nugget of advice and you're just like, everything just kind of comes full circle. Or that's what I could see like this could be. Or don't know. It's just like seeing it. Just like seeing. Oh, I guess let me give you an example. For me, so the North Node is in my ninth house right now, and it's going between my third. It's in my third house. Mars is traveling through my 11th house. So there's a lot of things as far as like the future that I'm thinking about. You know, the North Node is trying to take me outside of my comfort zone, take me to something where I have to call on a bit more faith. The ninth house can deal with your beliefs. I was in the traditional astrology. That's the house of God. So there has been a lot of affirmations going on, a lot of guided meditations for things really kind of needing to trust this intuition. There's a lot of more information that I'm needing to learn. This is something that I've needed to look into different courses, get a little bit more kind of beefier books and things, you know, really kind of get a solid foundation than more than just like kind of just watching videos and things, really kind of investing in myself. So that's how this energy is coming up for me. So that's kind of how you can get an idea. And so that's where I'm channeling my energy towards, you know, like getting more things along, like how do I see my future self moving? You know, what does my everyday look like? What kind of everyday conversations, Gemini, do I want to be having, or, you know, what that I want to be surrounded with, you know? And that's something too with that Mars and Gemini, saying different kind of affirmations, things that can keep you going in that direction. I got one just posted right here that just and it's nice, you know, those sort of things. And it's not, I feel that it's those little things that help you kind of break when you get in those ruts. You can go from a spiral to go to an ascension. So just something to think about with that energy. Now let's get into Sunday, the 4th, because this is going to be a busy day. The 4th of August, this first thing, at 4:13 a.m., we have that new moon that's going to be happening at 12 degrees and 34 minutes of Leo. And if you want to, I'm going to go over this a little bit, but if you want to get like a deeper dive as far as like the whole chart that's going on, I do a separate video on my other channel, the Chariot and Friends. That's for those of you who happen to have Cancer in your placements, or, you know, just we all resonate with the moon. So just understanding, you know, what's going on with the moon cycles. I'm starting to add on some things and kind of change the dynamics. I actually have another little thing that I'm going to be, all this ninth house stuff. I've been learning about some really cool things that I'm going to start incorporating. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be some big changes, or hopefully some exciting changes that you find useful over there. So, but every year around this time, the new moon that happens in Leo, you want to look, and when I say these points and things too, you just want to see where, you know, whatever house system you use, you want to just look at where you have these degree points, because that's the place that, or the house that's going to be activated during that time. And so when you have this new moon in Leo, one, the sun is at home in Leo's domicile in Leo, so it's doing very well. The moon is in the heart of the sun, is once it reaches that exact point, and there is this divine, when a celestial body comes in contact with the sun, there is this almost like death in a sense, but they go to the chamber of the sun where they go to be revived again, to go be reignited. There's this sort of divine inception that goes on down there, and then it just a new seed is planting. You know, you're getting ready, because when you're thinking with the new moon cycle, we're going to start something now, and that's going to grow over these next 9 months to when we get to the first quarter moon in Leo. And so during this time, be thinking about what sort of intention do you want to start setting? Where do you find yourself want to go? Leo is this energy of courage, is this energy of those natural gifts that you have. Leo is just manifestation in motion. Most of the Leo suns that I know, even the Leo moons, Leo risings, have this amazing, Leo energy has this just innate gifts, whether it be my stepfather, for example, amazing artist, really great with plants too. I mean, he's he's turning our place into a botanical garden, really good with fish. I mean, just really great with animals, really just a natural at a lot of things. And I don't think he gives himself enough credit for that. And this is where I feel, look at this, where this is falling for you in Leo, where this is houses that wants to shine. This is where the sun is shining the brightest. So pay close attention to this house. There's gold here. And now, one thing that I like to talk about we do like the new moons, the Sabian symbols where planets are going direct and retrograde points, is that I want to talk about the Sabian symbols that are happening on these points too. It kind of adds a nice little layer of nuance there. And I found this really fascinating. Because, well, I mean, because this is where my ascendant is, but this is phase 133 of Leo, and this is an old sea captain rocking himself on on the porch of his cottage. And the keynote for this is the quieted mind's recollection of crises and joys long past. And honestly, when I think about this just in my journey, there have been, if I were to be this old sea captain and just kind of rock in my chair and just kind of reminisce over how life has been, it has been a journey. It has been something I would have never thought I'd experience the things that I've done, and meet the people that I have met, and be doing the things that I'm even doing now. And yeah, the crises, yeah, they were something, but they were an experience. They were exactly what they needed to be, because now they turned into joys. And now I can sit and think like, yeah, that thing happened and I got through it. Like I got through it, and it was it was as great, it was beautiful. Like, man, but that's what I feel this new moon wants you to kind of focus on. Look at how far you've come. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself way more credit than you deserve. You're still doing the thing. You're showing up. You're showing out. And that's what matters. And keep doing that every day. Keep shining bright. Just like the sun keeps rising. It sets every day. It goes through that kind of dark night sometimes, but always comes back. Some days it's cloudy. Some days it's clear. Some days it's hot. So it's this journey. It's full of wonder. And you know what? While we're reflecting on these wonders, you can see, I would say this can be a time too, when we're reflecting on this past, the things that you've gone through. This can be a time to really see what you want more of and what you want less of. Because at about 7:23 p.m., Venus, the Empress, is going to be entering into the sign of Virgo, the meticulous Virgo. And this can be a really great time to just discern your relationships with things. Think of Venus as what we attract, what we love, and what we want more of. And this seems like, look at what you're pulling in your life. Is that working for you anymore? Venus is in fall in Virgo. This is when she is, the fall happens. She does well. She's celebrated, exalted in Pisces. But here, her love is more discerning. Her love has more requirements. Her love she has strong boundaries in Virgo. And so this is where think about Virgos associated with the intestines. So they're the ones that's sorting out what's good and what's being shipped off to go be eliminated by Scorpio. So in this, kind of go through this. Go through life and kind of do like a little sand shifter. I'm just picturing, how you're looking for the gold nuggets in your life. See what gold nuggets you want to take with you and let the sand wash away. What things do we want to work out of our systems? Venus sometimes has a tendency to hold on to stuff. She can be very retentive, even if it's to her detriment. So now that the energy is starting to fall, this can be a time to examine is there something that's making me feel weak? Maybe I'm drinking coffee and it's making me jittery. It's starting to not do what it's doing, or it's like taking way more to get me there than it used to. Maybe I need to re-examine my relationships with some things. Maybe I've allowed someone else to take my spotlight this new moon in Leo, and now you're going to take it back. Now you're like, nope, all eyes on me. Because now it's your time with this new moon in Leo. And so combined with this, I feel this could be, where even thinking about this moon in Leo, Virgo, I like Venus in Virgo, even though she's at fall, it's now she has to take that artistic, that beauty, and how can she utilize that for others? So this can be an energy where you're taking a natural gift and turning it into a craft, maybe maybe putting it as a service, maybe creating a YouTube, maybe creating a podcast, maybe writing a book, a magazine, maybe you're building a car, maybe you're real handy, maybe you just do do, maybe whatever you do. This is a time to get kind of inventive when we're talking. Well, not kind of, get very inventive when we're talking with Virgo. Virgo's not just like, this isn't a time where you're just like not having fun. Virgo, you can have a lot of fun, but you got to how are you going to organize that fun? How can you make that fun and make those things like a daily part of your routine? How can you bring more beauty into your routine? Take more care of yourself too. This is a very great self-care energy as well with Venus and Virgo. I like that. That's Venus and Virgo. That's the Nine of Pentacles. That's pre-Empress energy. So how do you, if you're feeling less than an Empress, how can we get elevated? Let's get exalted. Let's do that. Because Venus will be in Libra soon. Venus is cruising. So just keep that in mind. Now, someone who's not cruising is Mercury. Because at about 9:56 p.m., Mercury is going to station retrograde at 4 degrees and 6 minutes of Virgo. Now, the cool thing about this is Mercury retrogrades, and retrogrades in general, they're not meant to be this time where it's like, my computer crashes, there's traffic all over the place. It's a time to catch up. There's been a lot that we've needed to process, and the mind needs to, there's an important period that Mercury is about to examine. It's like when Mercury gets ready to station retrograde, it's like it gets to this point, it's just like, because Mercury can't go too far from the sun. It can only go about 28 degrees from the sun before it goes retrograde. So it's like we get to a certain point away from the soul, and it's just like, oh, wait a minute. I need to go back here. There's something that I missed. There's something that I can add on here. There's something that I just need to just double check again. And what I like about it going from Leo into Virgo is what's going to end up happening later is that the sun and Virgo will be in mutual reception, one. But even when you think about the process, like the natural kind of the progression, Leo comes from Cancer, where it's learned about its emotional self. It's gotten that connection with Source. And now it's ready to express itself. It learns these gifts. It feels comfortable shining in the light. And now that it's after Leo, Virgo comes in, and it's just like, okay, that was fun, but now let me do something that can help others. Let me take this beautiful singing voice, and let me maybe make an album with it, or maybe let me try to do something. Maybe I want to be an orator and help to motivate others. Maybe I want to become a vocal coach. Help train others to tap into these gifts. So. What I feel this station retrograde can be, again, think about any ideas, especially that come up during that. We're going to go back to that Mars sextiling the North Node. Write some stuff down with Gemini. Things can kind of come and go with Gemini, but if you ground those things, they're forever. So ground that stuff, and there may be something that you want to revisit during that time, because Mercury would have been in the shadow period that would have counted during there. Just something may be coming up, because... And something too, if you have any points around that 4 degrees of Virgo, when the planets are stationing retrograde at that degree, they're really digging into that degree. So you may really feel that potently. So pay attention to what comes up for you during that time. Now, I want to do the saving symbol for this one too, because I found this very fascinating. This is phase 155 of Virgo, and this says, a man becoming aware of nature spirits and normally unseen spiritual agencies. And the keynote for this is the opening of new levels of consciousness. And that's dope. So this Mercury retrograde is literally the Mercury in its sign that it's both domicile and exalted is just like, wait a minute. If I just go back and revisit this one thing, bam, something could really kind of blow up here. I could really be on to something, whatever that something is for you. Maybe you got a new idea. Maybe someone gives you an offer and you're just like, you know what? I kind of disregarded that. Maybe I'll go check this thing out, and then it's like the opportunity of a lifetime. Who knows? Maybe you end up meeting somebody, or, I'll tell you, like, where this is happening for me, Mercury is going to be going between my second and my first house. And so I got some new things that I'm wanting to take this direction in. And, when we're thinking about my second house, that's thinking about my self-worth, thinking about my resources and things. So it's like, how can I take some of these new ideas and how can I monetize on this? How can I maybe make my investments work for me? So, I had some ideas that were coming up, and that's what I'm getting pieced together currently. So, I got one thing that's together. Now I'm getting some other stuff, kind of in order. So that can be how some things are. And it's just like getting a blueprint for something right now. Maybe you want to plan a move. Maybe you want to start touching up your resume. Maybe you want to, maybe there's someone you want to ask out. Maybe you're trying to just kind of get to know them a little bit better. Maybe see if they're warming up to you, whatever that might be looking like. So just see where Mercury's traveling through, but expansion is coming through with this, and Mercury's going from it's where it's strongest at and celebrated in Virgo back to Leo. And again, I feel like when there's that shift between the Sun and Mercury, Mercury's going to be able to take that creative energy of Leo and fuel it into that soul of Virgo. It's interesting what I feel like can happen here. Like what you're going to do will make sense or will be able to be implemented. But again, look at this, where this is happening in your chart, because it's cool stuff, and it's not going to stop because of on Mercury Day. Speaking of Mercury, let's talk about that on the 7th of August. Actually, let's hydrate real quick. But on the 7th of August, at about 6:36 a.m., the Sun is going to be forming a sextile with Big Papa, Jupiter, at about 15 degrees, 32 minutes of Leo. That's actually happening on my Jupiter placement. But this is 15 degrees, 32 minutes, the Sun in Leo, and Jupiter is in Gemini. Now, this is an opportunity to expand. This is a time where the Sun... Now, this one may not be like a typical Jupiter sort of expansion, because Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini. So that means he's furthest away from one of his home signs of Sagittarius. And so this could be, there's an opportunity here, but I feel like with Jupiter and Gemini, there could be a lot of noise that's going on. You could see the potential in a lot of things and not move. Or, you end up getting caught up in the spiral, like, ooh, I can be this, I could be this, I could be this, I could do this, and I could do this. And then you're trying to do all of the things and nothing is coming together cohesively. It's just a lot of energy in the air. So how I feel like maybe a constructive way of working with this is think about a couple of things that you're wanting to get started. Just while we have this kind of Jupiter and Gemini, that's not to say that things can't expand, but I feel like it's when you focus on something, what you can find in that is really cool. That's how it's just Jupiter has to be. He wants to know it all, but if you know it all the way that Gemini does it, again, you're not going to move, because Gemini wants to know every single detail about a certain thing. That's why when I think about, for example, when I started, really kind of getting more involved in kind of like growth and kind of just the spiritual journey, there were a lot of things that appealed to me, but a lot, there was like, I could already tell that it was just like, I think about numerology, human design, this and that, all the thing, I Ching. It's just like, you know what, let me do the thing that resonates. Let me start here and see how I feel about it. And if something else opens, like if a bridge naturally opens up, then it will. But astrology's been doing it. Astrology's been doing it. I have like thick old books over there. I'm going in. And so that's how Gemini can help you. This Jupiter can Gemini. If you can focus, you can really go in. And you can go in and get a lot of really gold. Now I'm finding just gems all over the place. So, and this is applying to who you want to be. This is really tapping into gifts that you want to know too. So that's why I feel like this Jupiter and Gemini, this is an opportunity to be a student again, to think that, okay, but yeah, I may know a lot about this subject, but there's a lot that I don't know too, and be open to the fact that I can still grow with this. Oops, actually, hold on, we're going to do, you probably won't even notice a shift. It's fine. We're just not going to talk about it. But yes, that's what I would say about this sextile with Jupiter in Gemini. And you know, Jupiter and the Sun, they're really good buds. So if not anything else, this again could be like that Mars sextile the North Node, just a time to feel good about just being alive. You know, the Sun in Leo, it's been a lot that's been going on. So give yourself the chance. They're at the halfway mark here. Give yourself a chance to just go out and maybe have some fun a little bit, to just kind of just be in your energy. So now last little bit here, we have, and I don't think I changed the time for this. That's fine. Mercury, it's, oh goodness, this might be 11:12 p.m. maybe Eastern time. I missed one. So this may be between either, I'm going to say, I think it's 8:12 a.m. Eastern, or excuse me, oh no, that'd be p.m. Listen, on Mercury Day, Mercury retrograde is going to conjunct Virgo, and it's going to be at 3 degrees and 43 minutes of Virgo. Let me stop. See, Mercury's retrograde is working hard on me. So, with Mercury and Venus coming into retrograde, again, this is your mind when she was kind of sorting and going through. Now that retrograde really kind of digs into it. You know, it's just like, all right, now that I've worked through this thing, here's what I want to do with this. Here's where the masterpiece could potentially start building. You know, where, okay, now, yeah, I got this rubric, this blueprint, now let's start maybe getting a skeleton built on this. Now, something that I found very interesting about this particular one too, because the Sabian symbol is very curious for this, and I think that this really, and I think we all, you know, this is something we all can really kind of look at, because the Sabian symbol for this is phase 154 Virgo, and this is black and white children play together happily. And the keynote for this is the overcoming of socio-cultural prejudices, which I found is really, you know, like, just even despite, you know, what's been going on, because there's a lot that, of course, that's going on. I think that this can be a time where you just look at where you because we all have had prejudices where we thought maybe one thing and then you go and try it and it's a whole other experience. This could be maybe trying a restaurant that you've never been to before. This could be, you know, maybe you've always thought this, you know, maybe you've always thought like maybe a certain food was too spicy and you go there and it's like, oh my gosh, it's delicious. I'll tell you what, I went to Florida. I was very adventurous. I was always go out with the Sagittarius. You know, no surprise there that we always went on an adventure. But she took me to this African place, and we had this thing. Oh, good! It was fufu. Oh, it was freaking phenomenal. It was so good. Just like, but it's a place that I probably, especially with where it was kind of located, I would probably want to went over there. There was nothing that attracted me to it, but now it's like I'll see places all the time. I'm like, hey, we might need to stop up in there, and they're like, for real? It's like, yeah, like just to see. So this could just be look at where you may have these thoughts, these prejudices that you have. Are they yours, or are they something that you've picked up? And just kind of reevaluate how you feel about some things. Do I still feel the way that I do about this? Maybe you're someone who was not really big into vegetables. Now maybe you might entertain a little broccoli. Or maybe you're someone who's, you know, maybe didn't care for walking, but now you want to maybe get out, get a little bit more fresh air. Maybe you thought like yoga isn't the one, and then you tried hot yoga and you're like, oh, I can do it like this. Okay. Just these are just like, it doesn't have to be where it's these like, I feel like there's always time to have super, you know, just kind of when you want to have an existential crisis. But I think that sometimes too, like these can be, it doesn't have to always just be just like, oh my gosh, like it could be little things like, you know, why don't I like the taste of water? I heard someone say that the other day, and I was like, what about the taste of water don't you like? And I was like, no judgment. I'm genuinely curious. Tell me about this. Walk me through this. Like, I think I get what you mean. And then I had asked, like, had you explored tea? Because that's like that's a great way. I mean, a majority of what I drink throughout the day is tea. I mean, I drink a lot of water too, but I also have a lot of Leo, so I get, you know, you got to stay hydrated. Oh, but yeah, that's what I feel this conjunction could bring. Just a great time to just kind of look at your relationships with everything. You know, like, do you still love something the way that you thought you was? This something still? This could be maybe your taste in clothes maybe changed. Maybe you want to throw out some things. You're like, this is kind of outdated for me. This was a different period of me, and now I'm ready to showcase something new, an elevated level of consciousness for me. This Mercury retrograde, I'm bringing out something brand spanking new. So I like it. I think I'm gonna leave that there. So yeah, just some really cool things to think about. I feel like with how August, I think this is a lighter start. I think that this can be a great time to get just kind of rooted in some things, to have something to focus your energy on while, the matrixes. So until we see each other again. Thank you as always for watching these videos, and I hope that you get something from this. I hope this raised your vibration a little bit. Hope to get you thinking about something, just thinking about life a little bit more. And yeah, as always, I'm sending you love and light and good vibrations, and hopefully that you receive your wish and your guidance under grace and in the most perfect of ways. So I'll catch you on the next one. Later.